I'm Sam from Cultaholic.com, and this is Graded for Friday Night SmackDown, where I take a look at the show segment by segment and award each little bit a grade from A+ to F. Now, it was TLC last weekend, so we're probably going to see a little bit of fallout from that, but it's also a Christmas episode, which means they're pretty inconsequential, nothing really happens. It's just a bit of a big feel-good show. So without any further ado, let's go have a look at it, I guess. Let's crack on with it. Hit the intro. So, Daniel Bryan opens the show. The short hair, the short beard, the yesing, the works, just, skipping down to the ring as he used to do, all that stuff. He gets in there, and he gets on the mic and he's like, I don't actually know where I've been for 2 weeks. People keep asking me, but all I know is when I woke up and I looked at myself in the mirror, I realized that my brand had changed. He's talking about brand. He said that he saw himself as he once was because Bray Wyatt obviously ripped all of his hair out and ripped all of his beard out, even though he's now got perfectly fine and no patches or anything. But he saw that the Daniel Bryan that never got the chances he deserved. The Daniel Bryan that was full of fight and just wanted to prove himself. And he says just something off the back of what Bray said last week, how he doesn't feel pain anymore. He's like, well, I'm going to teach you, Bray, how to feel pain. Come down to the ring right now. And instead of Bray's music hitting, we get I came to play, and out comes The Miz. Miz basically puts Bryan on watch a little bit. He says, he tried to take my family. He got into my house. He messed with my family. Do whatever you want, but I'm getting that belt off him. I'm taking the thing that he loves the most because he tried to take the thing that I love the most. Corbin then, of course, emerges. He comes down, runs them both down, and then he eventually calls them both failures as fathers, and this makes them angry. They start to walk towards him, but of course, they're jumped from behind. Yes, Dolph Ziggler jumps the barricade, allowing him and Corbin to just beat them down a bit, but this sets up our main event for the evening. This gets a C+. It was a pretty solid opener, to be honest. There's not really a lot to say about it. It wasn't like a world-changing opener. It was just pretty solid. It was really nice to see the pop for Daniel Bryan. It was really nice to see how over Corbin is as a heel, and the main event match should be pretty solid. I mean, look at the 4 guys involved, right? We then go backstage to Heavy Machinery, who are being interviewed by Kathy before they go out for their match. They're dressed like Santa, and they're stood there and they're being asked questions, but then they're cut off by Mandy Rose, who appears and she's like, Otis, I know I'm interrupting you, but I got you in the Secret Santa, because obviously we've been doing the whole Secret Santa thing for the last couple of weeks, but she says, I got you in the Secret Santa pool, and I got you this, and she got him a ham to replace the one that Cesaro trashed last week. Otis is overjoyed at this, but then she kisses him on the cheek, and then Otis, like Popeye, it just fully goes mental, goes down to the ring with pure conviction. He puts his ham on ringside, and then we get set up for the next match. So the next match is Heavy Machinery, of course, against the Revival in a Miracle on 34th Street fight. Heavy Machinery get the jump straight off on this one. They're very much in charge until Tucker is put over the announce table and Otis is isolated. The Revival set up a table, they make a mistake, and Otis tries to put one of them through the table, but he gets sprayed in the face with a fire extinguisher, and guess where Otis goes? Does Otis go off the apron into... Yeah, he does. He goes through the table. We come back. Revival are very much in charge. They're sort of driving Tucker up the ramp. Tucker manages to power back, though he gets Dawson and suplexes him onto the metal lip at the bottom of the ramp, but it doesn't matter because Dash Wilder is up top. He's grabbed a present from under one of the trees because, of course, it's Christmas. There's trees everywhere around the ring and stuff, but he's up the top of the ramp. He opens a present, and it's a bowling ball. So what do? Tucker's sat down, they spread his legs, and he tries to bowl a perfect strike right in his bollocks. There's a whole bit with a Christmas tree. I think Dawson throws the Christmas tree into the ring only for Wilder to end up going balls first into it when Tucker moves out the way. And Tucker is once again driven over the top of the announce table, but then the Revival see Otis's ham. So they grab the ham, they throw it on the floor, they're kicking it, they're just, slapping it, they're beating up the ham, and Otis is having none of it. He sees this, he is not going to let this injustice stand. He just hulks up, wipes them out, and then he goes under the ring for a little black silk bag. Is he going for thumbtacks? No, it's 1,000 times worse. It's Lego. It's just pieces of Lego, and he pours them into the ring, and the crowd pop is great. He plants Dawson into it, and he sells it like death. He takes care of Wilder, and then he hits the Caterpillar, and then Tucky gets back in to hit the Compactor, and they pick up the win. And I'm going to give this match an A. It's the season for it. It's great, and it was a lot more than I was expecting, and it was somehow everything I didn't know that I needed. I saw this match listed, and I was like, oh God, oh God, please be good. But I didn't expect it to be quite as manic as it was, so I really enjoyed it. It's getting an A. It was really silly, of course, but again, 'tis the season, and sometimes silliness works, so long as the guys involved are sort of just all playing their parts properly, and that's exactly what we had here. We then go backstage after the break, and Otis is walking backstage with his ham. It's been all beaten up, and it's all like knackered, and he sees Mandy, and he's like, look, I'm really sorry, look at what they did to the ham, and she's like, don't worry about it, man, and then she gives him a hug, and you see his heart grow, you see the smile across his face, and he's so happy that he's finally sort of getting this recognition from Mandy, and he just loves it. But then when she pulls back, she's covered in like sweat and grease from him from the match, and she just sort of looks at him, looks down at herself, sighs, and walks off. And Otis is then, it just shifts completely. Like, you can tell he's really angry with himself. He's beating himself up. He's like, oh, you're stupid. Why didn't you like towel yourself off or something? But like, I quite like this. Otis has a lot more range than just mentalist. Like, yes, he's weird, and his whole character's weird, and it's supposed to be weird, but there's depth there, and I like that he's actually a pretty good character guy. It's really interesting. But we go back to the ring, and the Revival run down the fans. They run down WWE. They say, like, where has classic tag team wrestling gone? And Dawson goes, that's exactly it, Wilder. You said the word wrestling. We're here in the glitzy, glamoury world of sports entertainment. And then they're immediately cut off by Elias. Elias runs the Revival down in this song for being boring. He says that their matches are so bad that his grandma watched one and it put her on life support. And he says they need to make a big change if they want to be interesting. And he likens the change they need to make to the change that Caitlyn Jenner made, which is just a bit like, yeah, but like it's sort of forced edgy. I don't know where I sort of sit on that one. We then go backstage and Sami Zayn approaches. We then go backstage and Sami Zayn approaches Braun Strowman and he's like, hey, Braun! And you know that there's been a bit of weird back and forth, like when he was running Braun down and didn't realize he was stood behind him a few weeks ago. So there's clearly some tense feelings between the two, but he's like, hey Braun, I got you in Secret Santa this year, what do you want? And Braun's like, are you kidding me? You've done nothing but run down America, run down Thanksgiving, run down the holiday season, you've been running down Christmas as this consumerist thing, and now you're coming to me asking me what present you've got to get me. Braun then stands up, and then Cesaro and Nakamura emerge to sort of back Sami up, and he's like, look, you want to get me a present for Christmas? The only present I want that you can give me is a shot at the IC title. Sami and the boys, of course, go like, no, we can't really do that. It needs to be sanctioned, and then leave the room. We then go back to the ring for Carmella versus Sonya Deville. So Carmella is in front of sort of, I guess, a home audience for her. When Deville comes down, she is like straight into the ring. She goes straight for Carmella, but the referee separates. As soon as the bell goes, though, she's just laying in strikes. She's not letting Carmella even catch a breath. But weirdly, Carmella very quickly overcomes it. She avoids a couple of like attacks in quite an athletic way from Deville, like Deville's sort of sweeping low and she's jumping over it and sort of avoiding all of this offense. And then she just plants her and locks in the code of silence and picks up the win. This get to see, I know that it's a big feel-good moment for like the local crowd because Carmella is, but she's not really, but she's supposed to be local as a character to the area. But it's another instance in like of, we've had like super short women's matches for the last 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks or so. And it's just another instance of that, where it's just like, come out, get it done, that's it, move on. And we've moved so far past that point in wrestling history. Like, I'm not saying that this is where we're heading back to. I'm not saying that it's like anything that's going to become that. But it's a weird little trend that we're seeing these very short women's matches. And I think if it continues, we really have to question it. After this match as well, we have yet another video of Sheamus. And what's he telling us this time? He's telling us that he's coming back to SmackDown soon, because SmackDown's weak. And it's not as good as when Sheamus was there, and like now all he sees is little people and they're not very good, and just get back in the ring and start smashing people, mate. That's what I want to see. And then we go to the ring for The New Day versus Cesaro and Nakamura. Kofi starts strong until he gets isolated by Cesaro, who grounds him and starts just working his neck. And this becomes the theme. Nakamura gets in and it very much continues under him. He is able to get a hot tag to Big E, who comes in and cleans house, but Cesaro very quickly sort of takes care of that. Cesaro interferes and sort of lays the boots in, and by this point Kofi sort of goes for a dive onto him to take him out on the outside outside, but with that being done, it's left Big E to be like even more hurt. Big E's sort of dragged and the damage has sort of been done to him. He's just getting like mauled while Kofi's on the other side dealing with Cesaro. However, back in the ring when Nakamura attempts the Kinshasa, Big E manages to catch it into this huge lariat, turns him absolutely inside out. It was beautiful. But by this point, the match has slowed quite considerably, and then Kofi and Cesaro get the hot tags, come in, and the energy is way back up. Kofi connects with a boom drop to Cesaro, but when he goes for the Trouble in Paradise, Cesaro catches him into an uppercut, and this just stops things dead for Kofi. There's a huge swing from Cesaro. He then attempts a neutralizer, but Kofi, in a weird Nakamura-esque way, like rolls around Cesaro's back and then just takes him down, rolls him up, and on like a small package, gets the win. After the bell though, they of course try and jump the New Day, and then Braun's music hits and he comes in and cleans house, with Sami sort of just saving Nakamura from instant doom, just grabbing him at the last second before they all ran away. This one gets a B+. It was full of energy, full of excitement. There was like this beautiful double hot tag, which I thought was great, like a really good visual. Both teams had their timing so perfectly down they could do this in their sleep. Everything worked so well, but I just feel like the finish could have been something a little bit more, because it was just like, whoop, roll up. Like, you very rarely see a roll-up win like that. Like, I thought he was going to sort of go for the roll-up, kick out, and then it's surprising. A nice Christmas surprise, but I guess we'll see. We then go backstage with Daniel Bryan and The Miz. Bryan's like prepping for his match, getting his wrists all taped up. The Miz comes up and he's like, look, I know we're not mates, but I just want to thank you for saving me from getting hit in the head with a mallet. And Bryan's like, yeah, you're right, we're not mates. And they have a bit of a bicker back and forth, but they sort of talk a bit more about it. Bryan wants to obviously get the belt. Miz is still sort of very much like, I'm getting that title. We then go down to the ring for Bayley versus Dana Brooke. We see a really aggressive Bayley in the opening of this one. She just takes it straight to Dana. There's a point where she's choking her on the rope with like her knee, and Sasha's holding the title up in front of her face and just shouting like, you'll never be good enough, you will never be champion. It was really nice, I like that. Dana manages to hit a sweet looking step up enziguri. She hits a senton, but ultimately it's just not enough. Bayley hits that finish that she does that I'm sick of not knowing the name of. Please somebody tell me what it is, because I can't find it. But she hits that weird like planty face finish and picks up the 3. It's good to see because it was just super squashy, and I was sort of hoping for a little bit more, but I guess you got to really assert the dominance of Bayley as champion. Post belt, they attempt to beat her down though, and out comes Lacey Evans to make the save. Lacey sort of runs them out of the ring. She grabs a mic and she's like, whoa, Sasha, where do you think you're going? Get in here now, we're gonna have a match right now. So we go to a break, and when we come back, Sasha is in firm control. This is the second time in 2 weeks this has happened. Like, Big E came out, I think last week, and he was like, yeah, we're gonna have a match. We're gonna have a match right now. We're gonna beat you. We're so much stronger than you. And then the opening shot is him just getting beaten down. It was very much the same. Like, Lacey's super strong, and like, I'm gonna take you, like, I'm gonna beat you in this match. And it just cuts back in, and she's just being dragged all around the ring and beaten down. Things progress to the apron. Lacey's able to take control here, gets a little bit of offense in on Sasha, but while Bayley's on the outside, she distracts Lacey, and this allows Sasha to capitalize. Never once does Dana Brooke try and put a stop to that. She just sort of stands over in her corner going, no, don't do that. You could literally help her. So Sasha then grabs Lacey by the hair and drags her to the front of Hardcam's side. So she's like, not like the side you see, the side where the cameras are actually on, and Lacey's daughter is sat front row, and she's just got Lacey and she's beating her down in front of her daughter, and the referee just counts them out. He gets to 10, throws the match out, that's it done, but it just continues. Eventually it devolves into a brawl, but I loved that Sasha was doing that. Like, the emotional heartstrings, like Lacey's daughter was getting really into it. She looked really scared, and it is just exploitation of a child's natural reaction watching their parent get beaten up. But eventually, as I said, it devolves into a brawl. Lacey gets her own back, everything's okay in the end. Oh yeah, and this, if I didn't already say, I can't remember, it gets a C. And then we keep it in the ring for tonight's main event, which is The Miz and Daniel Bryan against Corbin and Ziggler. So once everybody's in the ring, Miz and Bryan bicker about who's going to be first, and this allows Corbin and Ziggler to get the jump on them. It doesn't last long though, because they just start nailing stereo it kicks, and that takes us into the break. When we return though, things sort of settle down. We've got Bryan against Corbin, and they're just going back and forth. Bryan's able to use his natural size and speed to sort of get out of the way, because obviously Corbin's a much bigger guy. He's not like a lumberingly big guy, but compared to Bryan, he moves a lot slower than somebody of his size. This doesn't matter though, because Corbin is opportunistic. He catches him into a deep 6, but obviously the deep 6 never gets a pin, so it doesn't work. Once Corbin's had his fun though, he tags in Ziggler, and Ziggler really shines in this match. I really enjoyed Ziggler's work here. He isolates Bryan from The Miz, and whenever he just sort of lets him get sort of halfway across the ring, Miz is itching for the hot tag. He's properly waving his hand around, trying to stomp up and down, but he's just like, go on, go make the tag. And every time he get close, he just stamp on him again. It was great. Eventually, of course, Bryan is Bryan. He powers out with a missile dropkick, and this allows him to get the hot tag to The Miz. Miz comes in full of vigor. He hits a DDT. He hits a skull-crushing finale on Corbin, but when he goes to nail Ziggler with one, Ziggler manages to evade it. Miz, not one to lose an opportunity, then very quickly locks Ziggler in the figure four. Corbin tries to storm the ring though, but then Daniel Bryan comes charging across the ring, takes out Corbin, Ziggler taps, Miz and Bryan win, but the second that all the music sort of comes on and everything's all happy and the crowd are going wild, the lights start dropping out one by one and we hear Bray's laughter, and then we go to, that's it, the show fades to black. I'm going to give this one a B-. The match was solid. There was a lot of energy there. Bryan and Miz work well together as a team. We've got this sort of fresh-faced Daniel Bryan. He seems to be just the old Daniel Bryan, but like it's like he's not even missed a step. He's never not been like the best, but like he's just so aggro and so aggressive with his style and just so quick and so nimble. It's like literally like looking through a time machine. And of course, I like that the Fiend is still silently in the wings, just watching and waiting. And in terms of an overall grade for SmackDown this week, I think I'm gonna give it a B. It was a nice little show to send us into Christmas. I enjoyed the street fight. I really enjoyed the main event, of course. I'm looking forward to seeing where they're gonna take the revival with this whole like anti-sports entertainment angle. I'm hoping that they're actually gonna really let them sort of shoot a lot of stuff, because this is a way to really sort of make them popular again. And then of course there was that great heel work from Sasha in front of Lacey's daughter. It was just fantastic. But that's it. That's SmackDown for the 20th of December, which is the last graded I'll be doing this year. So I guess I'll catch you all in the new year. Merry Christmas from everybody here at Cultaholic, and have a good one. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you like what we do here at Cultaholic, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And no matter what you do, don't ever forget to hit subscribe and join us.